Content warning. The following program contains a host that smokes like a dragon, sometimes potty mouth language, discussions of fictitious violence, and adult themes in comic books. Viewer discretion is advised. So what, you're not going to say anything sarcastic or anything? I was trying to be professional for just this once. Thank you very much.
I've always left the sarcasm to the chat. For this particular topic.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, just all right, fine, people. Just roll the credits. God. Hello, everyone. Hello, my friends, my family, my Twitch streaming audience. How you guys doing out there? What is the word? What is going on? I am Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and it's hot. It just won't cool down. Coming at you from the Wizard's Tower, and welcome to Buster Recap, because today we are going to be talking about some media. And when I talk about media, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, today is a special, very special episode, almost like that episode of 80s sitcoms where people decide that they're going to be talking about, alcohol, drugs, why Zach from Saved by the Bell is a monster. He is an absolute monster. Oh my god, I messed up the thing. Hang on. Let me just...
I'm half a face!
I only have half a face. Alright, and I'm back, one face. And of course, I have with me, as always, or as every Thursday, who I was shocked because I didn't think he was going to be here this time. You guys know him, you love him from cartoons and all those things he hasn't sent me links for.
That's right, it's Euthanasia. Wait, what was her name? Damn it. I screwed it up.
Yeah, great, yeah. Thanks for dropping the punchline.
Euthanasia Doubtfire. Hello,
Yes.
puppets.
Yes, Euthanasia. Yes, hello.
Euthanasia, that is it. That sounded so much clearer in my head until I tried to actually pronounce it.
Yes,
Like,
you guys
I
know
could
him?
say Euthanasia. No, I can't.
Yep. And you guys love him. We're talking D.W. McCann, the Bard in the Deck. How you doing, man?
Hi, everybody. How we doing out there in NP City?
Yep. Oh man, we already got a whole bunch of questions out there, and this is essentially a Patreon review time, because one of my patrons had been like, I need somebody to talk Sandman about. When we gonna talk Sandman? When are we gonna talk of the Sand and the Man? Look, your mentor did a video on the Sandman. Why can't you do a video on the Sandman? Do the thing on the Sandman. And I'm just like, man, are you just trying to knock me out? Is that it? You want to be like, yeah, do the Sandman so he get punched in the face? So yeah, that's a whole thing. Today we're talking about the Sandman, but before we actually get started on that, if y'all got any other questions and stuff like that, well, all you gotta do is send an email to backinthedeck@gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. You can also hit us up on the social media that everybody has and everybody hates, like Instagram and Twitter. Let's be real. Everybody uses it, but y'all know y'all don't like it.
The meta world.
Yes, y'all know all the time that is the place where you just go because you're feeling too good and you want to get mad. However, if you want to look at a whole bunch of people who can't dance coming up with new dances to show that they can make up dances and pretend they can dance, TikTok, you can find us at BidP. And of course, if you're part of that place where memes go to die, where people over 50 use, because we think we can use the internet, Facebook, join the group Deckers on the Book. Because that's our internet, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, we do that. We do Facebook and we do YouTube, and that's pretty much about it. But bring up all that stuff because specifically Deckers on the Book because that is where we put up so many cool things and so many cool announcements and all of that stuff. Like our announcement for a Decker Day.
Decker Days!
Yeah, that's right. We're doing Decker Day. That is August 27th, noon to 8 p.m. at Bono's Pizzeria on Ocean Boulevard in downtown Long Beach. All right. I went down to the place. This is why I wasn't here on Tuesday. I was actually at the venue, making sure that everything was nailed down and doing the blocking for where I'm putting the paint and take, where I'm putting up the tables for the exhibitors, where we're gonna have the panel, where I'm gonna be giving the lectures, where there's gonna be all of the demo games. I have got 10 tables set aside for demos of 3 aspects of role-playing games like D&D and stuff. We've got Carnivale, the one-page rules games. We got we're doing Warpath, the Fallout board game, and so many other things. I really wish that you could be there this weekend.
I feel like you saved the best, most exciting stuff to talk about Decker Day for the day I'm on, so that you can rub it in my nose for me foolishly not being able to go.
Oh, reap it. You're not gonna be here. This is what you get when you back out of the panel for something that you've been doing consistently for like 18 years.
Hey, you will be a lot less dusty, I imagine.
There's no guarantee on that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
All right, we're gonna have a lot of kids. And kids come with like dust and paint and all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah, we're doing that August 27th. Honestly, we only have 95 tickets left. All right, 95 tickets. We're talking. The tickets themselves, my friends, are $50 a piece. Hold up. Stop. Wait. Hold up. All right, hold up. Yes, they are $50 a piece. Why are they $50 a piece? Because real talk, guys. You are getting a paint and take, a terrain workshop. There's going to be actual special effects artists there that are just coming. They're just coming because they want to check out what all that stuff is about. There is actually going to be a producer of independent comics. We're talking Jason Reeves, the head of 133 Art, that does black comics for black creators by black creators, and our panel is going to be amazing, and it comes with an all-you-can-eat Italian buffet, yo. We're talking pizza, pasta, salad, bottomless drinks. So when was the last time you left the house for 8 hours? Oh yeah, and they comp your parking for the first 2 hours. So if you do the 2-hour parking and then get your parking validated and park again, it's free parking in a downtown metropolitan area. All right, that is what we're doing. All that.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
That I don't know if on the air is the best time to bring this up, but
me
I'm
up.
bringing it up.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have 2 things about the channel. You have people who are in the area, but one of the aspects you've always put forward is trying to make this more accessible for people who can't afford necessarily everything that everybody else can do. You also have people who are not in the area and are sad that they are not able to go to something like this.
Well,
but maybe if they were interested, do you have like a sponsor program? Because I'd like to be the first person to offer to pay for somebody else to go.
Oh, well, look at that. You know what? It's a sort of sponsorship program. Just hit us up on our emails and let me know your circumstances. And that means we've got 1 ticket that can go to somebody who is in the area but can't quite do the $50, and I get that. However, this is something else. And I was going to stop you for a minute, but I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to stop him. Let the man finish his stuff. I hate being cut off myself. So, now, here's the thing, guys. If this does well, if we sell out all the tickets and people really like this, then we'll do another Decker Day in 3 months in a different city. Okay, that is what we're talking about. Okay, if people really dig what we're doing, we may take it to Las Vegas. We may take it to Washington. That all depends on the logistics on all that. Or we might do it again in downtown Long Beach 3 months from now. That is up to you guys, the Decker community of Southern California. So show up, represent, let's do all this stuff. And also, I said tickets are $50. However, there are the family pack. Family pack is 2 tickets for $80, and you can bring up to 3 kids. Okay, and those 3 kids show up for free. They also get food. They also get the paint and take. They also get all that stuff. All right. And when I say kids, I mean kids under 17. All right, kids under 17. I know you gamers. I know y'all. Like, I'm a kid at heart. Yeah.
And I challenge anybody who is out there and has the resources but can't make it to follow in my footsteps and sponsor somebody else to go.
Hey, you know what, man? Thank you so much. I was gonna ask about that to see if there were people out there, but right now, most of our friend circle, we're old, we're tired, and we broke because half of us just got back from Comic-Con, and the other half is saving for Strategic Con, and or should I say, 40% just got back from San Diego Comic-Con. 20% is going to Strategicon the following weekend, and the other 40% are going to this thing in the desert. So it really is like a thing. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously. So let me give a major shout out right now to my patrons, by the way, because my patrons are super awesome. All right, you guys are also the ones that really help get us going and keep us on track. All right, and we are talking Laura Holden, Shaylee Watson, Jennifer Kroll, Noel Olheiler, Glenn Couch, Christopher Chalmers, and Joseph Hines. All right, those people are our royalty tier. Those are the people who pledge $20 a month or more. You guys are the reasons we can do this. All right, just let you guys know. And I put Decker Day out there as a chance to meet a lot of you guys in Southern California, in the flesh, in person, and so y'all can see what your patronage actually contributes to and the impact it has on the community. So thank you guys so much. All right. Now, oh man. So, how are you? How are you, D-Dubs?
I'm doing all right. I'm busy. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Got all sorts of projects in the fire, things I can talk about, things I can't talk about, and then all with the looming knowing that I'm going to be gone for a week and a half and not able to talk to anybody while I'm in the desert. And then come right back from that. I get one weekend that has my son and my wife's birthday. And then I'm right back to traveling for the Northern Renaissance Fair. So this is usually my stops. Yeah. Okay. It's a busy time, especially just coming back from Comic-Con after just coming back from a vacation for our 10th anniversary, and then wife and kid got COVID, which, all of that. It's just been busy, but I can't complain because a lot of the busy is good.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like somebody needs a nap.
I would love one. Can you talk to my son about sleeping through the night so that I can get one?
I can talk to him, but it won't take.
Actually, and last night's lack of sleep had nothing to do with him in his fault, but per se. Like, there are those nights that he wakes up at 2 a.m. and it's like, oh, come on. But last night, in all honesty, I decided I had yard work I needed to do for my son that I decided I did not want to do in the heat of these 100-degree days. So at 11:30 last night, I started installing a swing set for my son. So it is in when he gets home today. He gets to play with it for the first time. So I'm excited about that.
Okay. All right. When you say doing yard work for your son, I'm like, wait a second. You waited until 2 o'clock in the morning. You're out there with the lawnmower.
No, I did have to do some this morning after I dropped him off at daycare because I was raking the rocks out of the way because the whole area was just littered with rocks and the mulch wood chip type stuff, and I needed the area to be clear. And as I'm raking the rocks, I realize I'm right outside his window. And the worst case scenario is he wakes up and I don't get this done. Like, I need him to sleep so I can get this done.
Man, I gotta say, you are a hell of a dad. I gotta say, because
I
closest thing
try.
to a swing set I got was my first cousin. They lived down the street, and they had a swing set in the backyard. And this was the '80s, so it was one of those steel ones that didn't bolt into the ground, where if you swung well, the whole thing kind of
The whole
rocked
thing
back and
hopped.
forth.
Yeah, you could get it to hop.
Yeah, and it had the little seesaw that wasn't a seesaw, but it was a seesaw swing because if
Oh,
you're
I
going to
remember
endanger your kids,
those.
why not go all out, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
you
This
know,
one comes with the trapeze bar. However, I can't take credit for the getting of it. As a matter of fact, it was his birthday gift a year and a half ago that didn't arrive until after we moved into this house, and I haven't had the time to set up
gotcha.
from his aunt.
Yeah,
So
see,
it was not a purchase of mine. It was I need to get off my butt and actually make an area safe enough for him to be on one.
you just can't take a compliment, man. I'm like, you know what? You're a hell of a dad. No, no, I've had it laying around for a while. I just figured I'd get
Get
off my butt and make it now.
you can't sit on laurels. You gotta keep challenging yourself. Don't pat yourself on the back too hard.
All right, so fine. If you're trying not to break your arm, let's get into this. All right.
All right. We got topics.
Yeah, we got a topic or two, actually. Yeah. See, how can I put this? Long time ago, in the time of the '90s, where we said, screw the '70s, we're not gonna wear bell bottoms. We're just gonna wear pants 8 times our size, so the whole pant flares, right? Um, there was a comic book that finished up that if you listened to The Cure or Susie and the Banshees or wore all black or loved trench coats, regardless of Colorado schools, um, yeah, see, we're both sitting up. God, we just so old. So tired. Now, I'm just a humble Southern
Where is the
podcaster.
the staircase that we're supposed to sit on and talk about this
Yeah,
stuff?
really. I'm doing all this with the Mint Julep because I'm just a humble country Twitch streamer. Um, but yeah,
Bless your
and
heart.
we're talking Neil Gaiman's Sandman. All 10 volumes were out, and if you listen to things like Tom Waits or The Cure or Susie and the Banshees or Rush or anything like that, this was one of your many Bibles, right? It was like, oh my God, yes, it's Sandman. It's deep. It's philosophical. It's all of this stuff. And like the lead singer is or the main character is modeled after Robert Smith.
Yep.
And the devil is modeled after Bowie, and Constantine is modeled after Sting. Comics rock. And then we started playing the game of, man, if this ever gets made into a movie, who would you cast? Who would you cast? Cast it. Oh, cast it. When you weren't playing that game of, no, man, you are totally this character. No, you're that character. And I know you did it. I know you did it. Like, be real. All right?
Actually, I don't know that I ever felt I was a character. I kind of was a bystander. I never. This is one of the stories that I never was like, I'm totally a this character. I'm a what are the characters from Sex and the City? I'm a Shirley or whatever their names are. No, I just enjoyed it.
No.
Miranda. But I just enjoyed the stories, and this was one of the stories I didn't necessarily see myself in,
Okay.
but loved the stories.
Okay, Hob. By the way, I'm Samantha. But yeah, so, sure enough, it only took 30 years from the height of the comics' popularity to finally jump to a different medium. And
It took Neil
yeah.
Gaiman getting 2 other shows that did well.
Well, that medium that it jumped to was novelization. That's right, the novel came out, and the novel did so well that he was able to get the rights for his character back from DC Comics, because there was this long period of time that Neil Gaiman was on a rampage. He's like, I wrote these characters for these comic books. Now I'd like them back, please. I want them all back. And I have lawyers with very skinny ties and very fat briefcases to get my characters back. And, it started with Todd McFarlane when he took back Angela. And he's like, oh, well, I beat Image Comics. hold my ale, please. Because Neil is so British and polite. Um,
And then wouldn't it be
yeah.
hold my pint? I think it'd be hold my pint.
Yes, yes, yes. And hold my pint. Yes, hold my pint, please. If you would be so kind as to keep an eye on my pint.
A very
Yes.
polite
Yes,
rampage.
thank you, Gov. And sure enough, Netflix was out there doing their thing. And when Netflix was doing their thing, Netflix was like Oprah to all these new creators. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, thank you for coming to this Netflix meeting. Look under your chair. You get a show, and you get a show, and you get a show."
Well, even to the point that South Park did a whole thing about how anybody could get a show at Netflix.
Dude, South Park, Rick and Morty, and Gaiman was like, "Oh, hello." And they're like, "Neil, I don't even have to say look under your seat. Here you go. It's a show. But you don't get carte blanche. You're going to get a show because we're Netflix and we're giving everybody a show." Okay? I hear Amazon just gave you Good Omens. We're giving you Sandman. And Neil was like, "Well, we know you just got the rights back. You can have Sandman. You can have it, and you can have creative control. How's that?" "Oh, well, I guess that would be lovely. Yes, lovely. It's very fresh, very, very lovely. Yes, and for those of you guys that are watching from the UK, look, I learned my English accent by watching the Great British Bake Off. All right.
No,
God.
you have to understand, and I don't think I've told this on the show before, but my only experience with Neil Gaiman was based off of an article that he wrote about how George R. R. Martin is not your bitch.
Oh man.
And at Comic-Con,
true.
yeah, but at Comic-Con, there was this band that used to do, well, it was Will Wheaton, Paul and Storm, Adam Savage. They would put together this show every year called Wootstock. And one of the Wootstocks, Paul and Storm had written a song called Right Like the Wind, which was a song dedicated to George R. R. Martin, basically saying, you have so many books to go and you're not getting any younger. And they walked out on stage and they went, "You know what? Today, this show, we're just going to get it started." And they opened with that song. But because this is Comic-Con, George R. R. Martin walked out on stage, grabbed Storm's guitar, and smashed it into the ground. And then, because this is Comic-Con, Neil Gaiman walks out on stage and says, "Paul, Storm, what did I tell you?" And they both go, "Well, George R. R. Martin is not our bitch."
Yeah.
And the year afterwards, they realized that that was such a fantastic opener that they didn't even try for comedy or anything because you weren't going to top the opener you had the previous year.
It's true. Like, the only thing that could have topped that was like a necromantic ritual to resurrect Jack Kirby and for him to say, like, "Sure, make a Silver Surfer movie. I'm going back to bed. By the way, punch a Nazi today. I killed 15 of them." That's about it. And not being political, guys, do your research. Jack Kirby fought in World War II. And around Marvel Comics, it was a really big thing where he's like, "No, I killed like 15 Nazis out there." But the number would fluctuate. Sometimes it would go up. Sometimes it would go down. It all depends on which comic company he was working for, Marvel or DC, and how many years he'd been there. So,
and
yeah.
possibly what he had to drink that morning. I mean,
That's true.
Might have played a factor.
Yeah.
Might have played a factor.
Yeah, I would say that. But yeah, so and here's the thing, guys. This is not a page for page adaptation of the comic book that uses the comic book as a storyboard and gives you everything that you want, okay? Changes were made. And I want to put that out there for one reason. Neil Gaiman's Sandman, as important as it is to nerds of the 90s, not nerds in their 90s, it was his freshman work. This was like one of the first things he had ever written, and he's had 13 more years experience as a writer since then. So I dare any of you guys just to go back to your old journals from junior high and look at your poetry or your songs or your short stories and ask yourself, if you got the chance to publish them today, would you not change anything? You know, so I mean that's a weird thing.
You and I spoke on a completely different show
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that there's also how many people have seen these stories, know these stories, read these stories, know them by heart. At which point, why watch it?
You
If it's
know,
going to be the exact story that you already know, that's not. Get the main gist in there. Have the things you've been wanting to see happen, but throw a twist in there. Keep your audience on their toes.
oh well, they did a couple of things, and here's the big thing about it. With the production of this show, okay, he got his characters back, but the characters started as a DC comic, which means there were lots of cameos from DC comic characters, okay? So many cameos. We're talking Etrigan the Demon, Wesley Dodds the Sandman, the Martian Manhunter, Scott Free, and John Constantine. And he didn't get the rights to those characters. So he had to write around them. But we'll get to that. We will definitely get to that, you know. So, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the trailer for Netflix's Neil Gaiman's Sandman. I know we're late to the party, but I didn't want to do this until we got to see the entirety of the show from beginning to end. At least one of us here, so we know what we were talking about. So let's take a look at Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Netflix.
Your waking world is shaped by dreams. Dreams and nightmares that I create and which I must control.
He's out there looking for me, isn't he?
Can you imagine the damage he could do?
I need your help. If dreams disappear, then so will humanity.
You could do without dreams for a while. I haven't had a decent night's sleep in ages.
I'm not gonna stop until I've reshaped this world.
Tell us, what power of dreams you have?
I thought about giving up, but I have a job to do, and I do it.
Things have changed.
Your eyes will tell me everything. Every thought, every feeling.
My creations do not walk amongst the living, killing mortals for pleasure.
Oh, you don't think dreams can die? Let's find out.
Nightmares do not belong in the waking world.
Oh, it turns out I fit right in.
Dreams don't die.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Well,
Oh yeah.
how can I put this? Now, there are people out there that watch my mentor's show, so they're expecting me to explode in a loud expletive. With that, I'm going to say, shh, that was really cool. That was very cool. I liked it very much. I really did. So, the Sandman looked like it was so awesome. If you guys couldn't make it out because of the resolution of your phones or screens or whatever, yeah, real talk. One of the bad guys. Yeah, one of the bad guys. Ha ha. Uh oh. Yep. My stream may be temporarily blocked. Yep, over on YouTube, they heard it. And it's like, oh, you showed the trailer. Well, I'm not monetized. But Yeah, you might have seen that the bad guy, has teeth for eyes. Yeah,
It's creepy.
you know, he's yeah. And honestly, um, I gotta say, you've only seen the first episode, right?
I've only seen the first episode, but I did find it interesting that he's making the world in his own image, but he's not inserting teeth in those eye holes. He's just removing I feel like if it's truly his image, he should like leave 2 or 3 teeth in there.
Hey, you know what? That's he's making the world in his image. That doesn't mean he's gonna do a complete job. You know, how many of us see every aspect of ourselves? That's my question. I mean, really.
Yeah, how many of us are torturing people to try and turn them into us? I don't know that this is a comparable
Let's
situation.
see. That's you, that's me, that's Daryl. So 3 of us at least, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. So, I'm gonna check something here real quick because I'm feeling a little washed out. I'm feeling a little washed out here, so I'm gonna just make a quick adjustment on video settings here. Yeah, I don't want to adjust for low light. Thank you. All right, cool. So yeah, there's all that. But yeah, I gotta say, I watched the entirety of the first season. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, this may sound like a spoiler, but if you're familiar with the source material in and of itself, guys, has 10 graphic novels. 10 graphic novels, okay? So we're looking at 72 issues of one serialized arc, right? Or one serialized story. So honestly, if they do 2 trade paperbacks a season, they've got 5 seasons. That's a good length for a show. All right, that's, you know.
What was released just the first half of season 1, or is it all of season 1?
Actually, what was released was all of season 1, which consists of Preludes and Nocturnes and The Doll's House. So 2 trade paperbacks.
Gotcha.
With a couple of filler issues in between. So that was good. But of course, how can I put this? There were some changes that were made to the show. I talked about them a little bit earlier and in a different episode. Now, I was a little upset at the beginning because I saw the Impossible Girl. I saw Clara from Doctor Who. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know that line. Oh my God, wait, let me check the Lady Joanna Constantine. What? Oh, wait. He's been on like 3 shows that DC owns, being Constantine, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow. So he's part of the Arrowverse. And they probably didn't bother trying to bid for the rights and fight with Warner Brothers to get that, especially with the fight with the merger between HBO, Warner Brothers, and the Discovery Channel. So I'll let that slide. Wait a minute. She's playing Lady Joanna Constantine. That's his ancestor that was already in the books. You know what? I can go with that. Oh, wait. Neil is part of the writing crew. Hey, what's up, Dwighty? So, yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'll deal with that.
I can go with that, but I do want one episode somewhere down the line where Capaldi walks across the screen and takes a double look at her. And just that's it. Just a quick, brief moment.
It's funny you mention that because that's not out of that's not out of the ballpark. You know, the first place I ever saw Peter Capaldi was in the BBC production of Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere as the Angel Islington. So the two have worked together before. It's not unfeasible. And, you know, he did The Suicide Squad, so why not do Sandman, you know, for a friend, you know? But yeah, so we're not going to go into heavy spoilers because this guy's only seen 1 episode. But
I can survive if something needs to. If it comes up in conversation, I'm not going to be mad.
Well,
But
you know, the whole
I appreciate
thing
the
is,
effort.
It is a this show is my kind of adaptation, which is it has everything that the books had. Okay, much like sorry, it has all the main story points that the books had. Okay, guys? I mean, seriously. All of the story beats, all of the iconic moments, and everything that made the book specifically stand out to be itself. You know, I'm one of the few people on Earth that didn't have a problem with Neil Gaiman's adaptation of The Watchmen. I don't hold it up as this holy sacrosanct thing. It had all the story points, it had all the characters. You can interpret it in many different ways, but whenever you see an adaptation of a work, you're going to see someone else's interpretation of a work that you're familiar with. That's just how it's going to go. But what my old film mentor told me when V for Vendetta came out was it has the spirit of the source material, if not for every plot point. And that's what this show does. It really has that. And in truth, I'm happy. I'm happy with that particular show. I honestly think that this show, in and of itself, standing on its own, is an absolute full house. Okay, absolute full house. I haven't given a four of a kind to anything for a while because I don't review evil on this show. I do that on Nerd Soul on Sundays. But yeah. But what did you think of the first episode so far?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it did a great job of setting up the story, setting up the characters, and watching it. It was interesting watching the the realm in its prime, and kind of like there was my first reaction where there's certain moments where it was clearly CGI, and sometimes that can pull me out of a story.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, yeah, but this is also a dream. Like, it doesn't need to be fluid. If something happens that's odd, like that could just be part of everything. So I got over myself with that whole thing, and then really enjoyed the bridge lifting with the hands is probably my favorite little effect that they did. But just I really enjoyed the setup and watching his anger, the stoic anger at the shooting of the Raven.
Yeah. That is a really funny thing that you bring that up about because I'm watching the show and I'm watching the show with my girl, right? And here's the thing. She never read The Sandman. All right? She never read it. And I got to say, I'm watching the show and I noticed something really, really interesting about this show, which is Tom Sturridge, who plays Morpheus, was cast because of his delivery of one word, and that word is no. I mean, seriously. Again, Sandman for me is like Lord of the Rings for a lot of people. I read it like once every 5 years. And every new person to the show or to the property, I give a really, really, really succinct warning to, which is this comic was written in the 90s, which means it has the 90s trope of the main character is an insufferable twat and everyone else is amazing. Okay, I don't care if we're watching Saved by the Bell, How I Met Your Mother, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If it came out in the 90s, the main character is just like, God, why won't you get a brain? And everyone around the main character is like, well, you know, they are our friend, you know. And one thing I have to say about this is it's been about a year since last I read the books from cover to cover. And Morpheus is just as insufferable as I remember. But this show does something that I was surprised at, which is it included panels that I had forgotten. And those panels are the rest of the cast going, huh, he's changed. What do you mean he's changed? He's an insufferable prick. Yeah, but he was an asshole before he was captured. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's a really good point. That really is a good point. Stephen Fry makes an appearance, and he pretty much says that at episode 8. Like, that was almost an apology from him. Wow, he changed. Yeah, so that really is something that I'm going through the books again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, all right, yeah, that's a big thing. But the show adds a lot of context that wasn't there in the original graphic novels, because I think Neil has learned that over the past 30 years, you can add a thing or two to clarify a few things, and that was really, really good. We got Daryl over on YouTube going, I like him, I get the way he acts, and it isn't out of foolish ego. I would argue with that only in the sense of, I joke when I say that Tom Sturridge was hired for his ability to say no, but honestly, the actor has presence, and when I say presence, the character of Morpheus and all of the Endless, they are anthropomorphic concepts or anthropomorphic personification of concepts with their own realms, as in their own dimensions, as in their own multiverse. So they are kings and queens. They are regal, okay? And Tom Sturridge, as the show goes further and further, he pulls off regal in a way I haven't seen for a long time.
Well, there was even a beautiful moment when he gets mad at his siblings for not having saved him, and it was very much the like, I recognize they have their other worlds, but we are supposed to be family, and if they had no interest in doing anything for me, I'm not going to ask them for their help now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the most iconic issues from the Sandman series was issue 6, The Sound of Her Wings. And essentially that is the episode where we as the readers first meet Death. Okay? The #1 fan favorite character of the entire franchise. When I watch this show, I'm like, you know what? Her cosplay is coming right back into style. One, because it's so easy. I mean, tight black jeans, a black tank top, and Doc Martens. Hell, I'm almost cosplaying as Death right now. I just don't wear a lot of tank tops on screen because, I'm a middle-aged man, and I know that tank tops are a privilege, not a right. But yeah, that brings us, though, to The Sound of Her Wings. And this is where Death, first makes her appearance. And in truth, we meet Death for the first time after dealing with 5 issues or 5 episodes of Dream being insufferably gauche. I'm not gonna lie, for the first few issues of Sandman, I was waiting for Robespierre to come out with a freaking guillotine to cut off this man's head. I'm like, dude, it's a good thing that you're an anthropomorphic personification, because no one could breathe with their nose stuck up that far up their own butt. Seriously. And The Sound of Her Wings was the issue where Death herself says pretty much that to Dream. And we find out that even his family is going, dude, get a hobby. Lighten up. Stop being such a teenager. And by teenager, I mean, I sit in my room. I sit in my desolate room. No lights, no music. Just unsettling dissatisfaction. For I am the purveyor of all dreams. Therefore, I have no dreams of my own. I simply am dream, and I am so sad. You know. And then we meet Death, a really attractive young lady who has a positive outlook on just about everything, which is a great juxtaposition. However, this was given to me by one of my patrons, and it was my mentor, Double Toasted's, comment on the casting of Kirby Howell Baptiste. Kirby Baptiste is the actress that was cast to play Death. And now, I didn't do a whole lot of looking or anything like that about the show or anything like that. I really didn't. And I didn't for one main reason. I live by a lot of really, 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 really simple laws. And the fourth law that I live by is never ask a question that you don't really want the answer to.
That's a big one, and not a lot of people think about that.
Yeah, because I might get it. And that also means, you know, I don't ask the question if I don't want to know the truth of it, nor do I ask the question if I already have an answer in my heart that I want to hear. Okay? Because if I get the truth and it's not the truth that I want, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
You know? But I didn't look into this because the sound of her wings was a very, very, very important issue in the Sandman books. Okay? Very important. So them not giving that particular issue an episode would have been the thing that pulled out my fanboy rage to make me start typing on the computer to the point where my hands became bloody. You know what I mean? Like, that really was a thing. And I'm like, ooh, they better freaking do the sound of her wings. They got to do like, all right, if they're doing the Sandman, they got to get Seasons of Mist right. They got to get the sound of her wings right, and they got to get Brief Lives right. If they mess up Destruction, I'm gonna be a cover of a freaking Black Eyed Peas song is what I'm gonna be. No, you know, and then they showed us the sound of her wings, and here we have Kirby Howell Baptiste as Death, and I'm going, hey girl, phew, how you doing? Which honestly is the that is honestly the desired effect. Okay, so I'm like, okay, well, they got an actress that looks good, but guess what? It's Hollywood. How many actresses are ugly? All right, now we gonna do all that stuff, and sure enough, they did the episode. Now, this is episode 6, but when you take a look at Kirby Howell Baptiste, are you, well, first off, D-Dubs, are you familiar with the source material?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So when you see this woman here, do you see Death?
I think it was spectacularly done.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. It's, yeah, I mean...
You had made a mention, I think it was you, in a previous conversation about how Constantine the movie set that up with their variation of Gabriel.
Yes.
And yeah. I'm all for it. I think it was a well done, well performed moment.
Yeah. And so when I watched the episode, I'm like, dude, she's warm. She's genuine. She's fun to be around. And I'll put this out there, okay? Neil Gaiman's Death, Neil Gaiman's personification of death, or his Grim Reaper, is my second favorite Grim Reaper in all of literature, okay? All of it. Of course, that begs the question, who's my first? The answer is Death from the Discworld books, okay? And so I'm like, they better get her right. If I don't want to spend time with this character, then it was cast poorly or directed poorly. For once, I don't care how it's shot. I don't care how it's lit. I don't give a damn about the sound. But if the actor direction on this doesn't immediately enamor me to this character, then they did it incorrectly. Okay? And I watched this episode and I'm like, folks better shut up. I better not hear a word about this episode, because honestly, with this casting as Death, and she's the member of the family that pops up the second most in the entirety of the run. So getting her casting important was super, super important, because every time Death is on screen, we're supposed to go, yay, she's here. And in all honesty, they pulled it off. But again, we got those people. You know the ones we talking about. You know, my mentor, I'm not going to show the whole thing. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm not going to show any of it. I'll sum up. If you guys want to see it, head down to YouTube, look up Double Toasted. Is the Sandman too woke? Okay. Somebody sent him a letter saying, let me tell you the bullet points. 1, I'm all for diverse casting and people of color and stuff getting cast in shows like this, or in shows. It's really great, but this show is mostly black people, and black people are like 4% of the population of the UK, and 14% of the United States, and there are no Latinos, and there are no Asians in the show. And watching this kind of casting makes me uncomfortable, although I'm not familiar with the source material. I'll repeat that. Seeing this on screen makes me uncomfortable with the material, although I'm not familiar with the source material. Cutting to you, Dan. But I'll say it one more time. Just to let this sink in. All right, just to let this sink in. The diversity casting makes me uncomfortable, although I'm not familiar with the source material. Before I get started,
I feel like, I was gonna say there's more behind this.
Before
I'm
I
waiting.
get started, what do you think?
Oh no! Don't throw to me at this point. No, you are on a roll. I know better than to stand in front of that steaming train. I know better. Take your run.
I am so full of expletives right now. Okay, because there's so many layers. That the whole comment that came down from this particular person is indicative of something that I talk about on so many shows. But really, it's like an ogre. You know, his letter is like an ogre. All right. Yes, it has layers. It's also foul and stinky, and nobody likes it. All right, because
it is absolutely not a parfait.
Yes, it is not. It is not a parfait. It's not a parfait. It is whole. It's not even like striations of geology. All right, this is because
no, you don't want to take that for granted.
Yeah, yeah. Nope. Oh my God. Yeah, you're just running lapis around that. All right, just lapis around that point. But yeah. So really, one, if you're not familiar with the source material and seeing that many black people on screen in a fantasy show makes you uncomfortable, then you need to ask yourself the question, why is it that the fantasy that you want doesn't include people like me? Like, why is your ideal fantasy world one where people with my color skin don't belong? I'm just gonna ask you that question.
And now that the train has left the gate, I'm gonna hop on with a follow-up question. Why does being around a whole bunch of black people make you feel uncomfortable? That's something that somebody has to ask themselves.
Yeah, but see, if I ask that question, then people accuse me of pulling
I am
cards.
taking that opportunity to ask it with all my white frickin' privilege. I'm asking it.
Ha, you haters out there. I play my trap card. Him.
I love that I'm a trap card. I'm okay with this. I am totally okay with this. But yeah, no, like there is some serious reflection. And there was a time in my life that being one white person in a group of black people made me feel uncomfortable. And I had to look into why. And I had to kind of do some self-reflecting. And like, there's no reason that the color of this kid, being around a whole bunch of people who are bigger than me and have muscles bigger than me, like that's something that I can understand. Like there's a reasonable connection to fear of I can't defend myself if these people all turned at me.
Hold up.
And
with that, though, I'm going to say people that are bigger and more muscular than you scare the crap out of me.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like that. And that was actually an aspect of the time that spawned me to look into this was there were several of the people who were around who could totally kick my butt. Like buff guys. But there was a just that moment of like, okay, is it their skin color or is it the fact that they're being ominous or they're being, and are they being? Are you perceiving that and it's not really there and they're just having a lovely chat? Like those are the questions that people like this guy need to ask themselves.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a reaction when I see a black elf in Lord of the Rings. There is no part of me that they can't be black. As a matter of fact, I recently saw the live action version of Little Mermaid, and I remembered a whole bunch of complaints about what color a mermaid can be. And then I saw the thing, and I'm like, she looks like the character was drawn. Like she's not.
Okay, so real talk, mermaids are blue. Guys.
They actually, I think of Luca and the uncle. And it's like translucent if you've been down in the bottom of the ocean long enough. You see the stomach just moving around inside the skin.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the sheer, I don't know, gall to look at something and be like, well, that's not the color I imagined it. Anything, people, objects, whatever. There's no reason.
And see, here's the thing. This is the place where they kind of have a leg to stand on, kind of. And that is in the source material, there aren't very many people of color, okay? In truth, in the source material, most of the people are either, as my mentor, Mr. Thomas says, white or chalk. All right, that's about it. So I kind of get that. However, this is a guy who may have seen a couple of pictures, and to their own admittance, isn't familiar with the source material. So to that I say, fuck yeah! All right? Because, again, if there was a cogent point, there was a cogent point. I love what Xanathades has to say here in the chat. He's like, Tom Sturridge is the perfect one to respond to that question. Is the Sandman too woke? No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Seriously. Yeah, we got Daryl over here on the YouTube sitting up saying, there is a black deaf mermaid in the TV show. And yeah, I mean that's fine. But yeah. And the whole thing is I have not seen casting done this well since X-Men 2000. Okay, I'm dead serious. Since X-Men 2000, the show is just good. It's a good show. Yes, Lucien was race neutral and gender swapped. So what? It's a dream librarian. Constantine was turned into Joanna Constantine, which, since they couldn't use the character, would you prefer they cut him out? Would you prefer they totally change around the storyline as to not get sued by the people who own the copyright to that character? Like, what is it that you people want? You know, workarounds had to be done, and other things like, I don't know. I grew up in an age of affirmative action, okay? And affirmative action got a lot of black people and women and LGBT and disabled people hired for jobs that they would normally get looked over for. However, the haters out there kept saying that the only reason that these people got the job was because of the color of their skin or their sexuality or their gender or whatever. And it's like, the problem that comes down to this stuff is, this is in y'all heads that these people aren't qualified for the job, okay? After watching this season of Sandman, I cannot, with all of my knowledge of modern media, think of anyone else who could have played the role of Death. I cannot recast her in my head. She did that good a job, okay? I literally can't think of anyone else. It's been 20 years since Lord of the Rings. Who else can be Aragorn? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point. You know, Aragorn is Vigo. Vigo is Aragorn. It took 5 years for me to get used to McAvoy as Professor X after all that time. One movie of Patrick Stewart being Professor X, I
think part of that comes from. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
and Kirby, literally, like, Kirby Howell Baptiste puts her stamp on Death in the same freaking way. And if you're not willing to see that, this ain't nothing to do with Neil Gaiman or the directors or the cinematographers or anybody else involved. That's a you thing. And you should really take some time to do some reflection. What were you, back to you, Dan.
Hey, I know it's stepping out of the way of that train every time it goes past that fast. No, I was just going to say there are a lot of people that, like, before the show hits the screen, there is, how should I say it? There is a lot of talk about, oh, well, I'd love to see this person play it. Or I really think this person would play it well. Oh, no, don't let that person play it. One of the examples that comes to mind, I was dead set against Heath Ledger being Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically because a lot of his talk about how he wasn't going to read the comics.
That guy from The Knight's Tale? What the? That ain't.
I was less about, like, well, if he was in Knight's Tale, he can't do this. It was some of the stuff he was saying about how he didn't even want to read the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh God, I don't like that choice. I don't like that as an actor. Like, not looking into any of the source material is like a weird thing to me. You have all of this rich background, and you're not okay. And he did an exceptional job. But my reason for bringing him up is not that
exceptional.
I thought it was exceptional.
He did a job that outshined Nicholson, like, real talk, outshined Nicholson, and is on the same level as Mark Hamill in the sense of, when people think of the Joker, they think of Mark Hamill when it comes to an animated Joker, and Heath Ledger when it comes to a live action Joker.
I think that is still going to fall to something similar to when you talk to people about what their favorite 3 Star Wars movies are.
I don't.
People who started, like, saw the first, movies when they came out, didn't like the prequels, but people who started the series with the prequels, those are their favorites. So I'm not saying that I think Heath and Jack Nicholson are one better than the other. They gave us 2 completely different Jokers. And I really liked both of them. So I have a problem, like, passing one over for the other, because I like the Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight is something I still quote to this day.
I get you on that. But
It's quotable, it's memorable, and a lot of what was done in that performance is still today.
I'm not talking a personal preference, because I come from a school that worships Jack Nicholson as an actor. I literally used to have an altar to the man. However, in the collective consciousness of the present, more people think of Heath than they think of Jack. And it has nothing to do with the time period, because more people think of Keaton with Batman than they do Affleck.
But
or-
that's partly
or Bale.
because everyone who followed Keaton sucked. like that's not an equatable example.
They think more of Keaton than they do of Bale. Okay.
Again, Keaton did a better job. But I don't know. I don't want to go down the Batman street. But my point was, I think that to a certain extent, when people have that conversation before, what I was starting to say, people are having that conversation about who I'd cast, and I think this person would be wonderful, and I really hope they get this person, and I hope they don't get that person. Then you see the performance. And when the performance stands out, that person then becomes all you will accept in that role for a long time, possibly forever.
Yeah.
And if they stink, you never want to see them in a related role ever again. I don't want to see Affleck do any more comic book movies.
And
but anyways,
I liked Affleck's Batman for how he performed it, not for how it was written.
I did not, because I feel like he was trying to do Old Man Batman, but didn't have any of the gravitas of Old Man Batman.
Well, you know,
it was just
Brian
grumbling.
Dennehy was a little old, you know. And honestly, Jeffrey Lean Morgan was already his dad. So if they use him for Flashpoint, for Old Man Batman, it's cool. I hear they're using Keaton. That's also cool. And
Keaton be good. I think it'd be hysterical if they brought out Conroy.
Yeah. Now let's bring it back, because we are talking about a comic book property, and we strayed into Batman. Damn it.
Understood. But it was originally a DC property, so we're still within the right realm.
Yeah, I'm just tired of every comic book discussion falling to Batman.
But my point is that I think she has given a performance like that.
Yeah.
That no matter who you may have saw in that role in your mind, when you saw her in it, yes, this is what I was hoping for. And you're going to get that from most people. You're going to have people who are, no, this isn't what I was hoping for. You're never going to please everybody.
Yeah.
But I think you're getting a better positive reaction because of her performance, because of the presence that she brought to the role.
Yeah. We got Xanathade saying she just knocked it out of the park. I'm like, she knocked it out of the sport. Okay, like real talk. Like she hit that thing with a bat. Somebody caught it and ran it. They ran it to the end zone and then kicked it into the net. That was.
She's getting the Stanley Cup for that particular hit of the baseball.
Seriously.
I
already quoted you once, Xanathade. Don't mess it up. I'm not saying that joke. Okay, just take the compliment. Take the compliment this time. But unfortunately though, when it comes to Sandman, I gotta. All right, fine. I'll wrap it up. God. Sorry, guys, but this pretty much makes our time. Thank you guys for being here today, and thank you, DW, for being able to make it this week. All right. So I'm rolling out the red carpet. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me currently on Facebook, on Instagram and Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Bardic_DW.
Hang on real quick. Oh my God, we're being raided. We're literally being raided by the chat attack. Raid! Oh my God, I feel like a roach that's about to die.
Raid!
Yeah, sorry guys, we're literally wrapping up the show right now. But thank you guys for coming in. Seriously, we're talking the chat attack. Let's see, they're coming in with all that stuff. Yeah, I can't wait for season 2 either. Yeah, but seriously, that was funny. It's like, yeah, we're literally doing the end credits right now, and it's like, yeah, we're getting rated on our way out. That's kind of cool. So yeah, so where can the people that just rated us find you on this one?
You can, aside from Bardic_DW on most social medias, you can also find me on the podcast Watch Party Wheel of Time, and you can find me on video games and cartoons randomly in the background of a lot of the ones that you're listening to.
Awesome. And of course, guys, you guys know where to email me. You can find me over at backinthedeck@gmail.com. You can find me over on Twitter and all that jazz. And if you want to see me in person, all right, I'm gonna put the new flyer and all that stuff up in Gonna put the new flyer and stuff up in the Discord because the new flyer has a UPC symbol. But and yeah, so with the UPC
And to
symbol,
the Chat Attack Raiders, this is your chance to live up to my challenge. With Decker Days, go ahead. If you can't make it, sponsor somebody else to be able to go.
That's right. So yeah, come check out Decker Day, a whole day of fun and games at Bono's Authentic Pizzeria in downtown Long Beach. It's a gorgeous location. We're going to be having sample games, GM workshops, a character class, a panel with a bunch of really cool people. And I mean a bunch of really cool people. You can find it on Decker's on the book, on the Facebooks, and this is for everybody in the Southern California area, all right? The new flyer does come with a UPC code, so if you can just download the flyer, pay there. We've got a link over to the PayPal specifically set for Decker Day. And yeah, we're gonna have 133 Art, the comic company, on the panel, along with Marquita Lastar, comic publisher and journalist. That Nerd Soul, which if you guys are used to seeing me on Sundays, yeah, we're gonna have those guys, and of course Guildhouse Games, and whoever that handsome devil is in the middle. 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets are $50, and the $50 includes the paint and take, the swag bag, some stickers, and the all-you-can-eat Italian buffet. What? Oh my God, that's right. The day out at our one-day expo includes food and validation of parking. So come on, guys. It's really not that big a deal. And if you are out of Southern California and you want to contribute, that's cool. You can sponsor somebody and all that jazz. You know, buy them a ticket. They'll get their names on the list, and boom, they can be there and be there for the event and all that stuff. And a couple of special, I know a couple of my friends from art departments from the entertainment industry are actually going to be there. Specifically, a friend of mine, my special effects mentor at that, is going to be there just looking at games, playing stuff, and you'll know him by his laugh because it's very loud, it's very boisterous. In fact, it'll probably be the way that most people find the location. So check all that stuff out. If you got any other questions, then feel free to hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. But until then, if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, your budget, your neurodivergencies, any of that stuff, you can just tell them to take any of those cards and put them back in the deck.
Back in the deck.
All right, now join us tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Hobby Hall, where I'm going to be painting more miniatures and building more terrain for the demonstration tables, of which we have 10 for Decker Day. And we can talk about this stuff a little bit longer. And who knows, man, if you guys are really down, I might even take a Zoom caller to help me co-host on Decker Day while I paint, or to co-host on Hobby Hall tomorrow while I paint, and we can have a chat like that. All right, so we'll see you guys then. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Later.
Bye.